For months now, the Ace family has been avoiding any and all rumors regarding the foreclosure of their house, but they finally sat down and recorded an hour-long video spilling all the tea about what happened and why they had to sell their dream house. Guys, this is literally so crazy, and some things are making sense, but other things seem really suspicious. It's a mess, so let's get into it. Before we get into the tea, I just want to let you guys know today's video is sponsored by NordVPN. Right now, you can go to nordvpn.com/tspill and get a huge discount on a 2-year plan and 1 month completely free. Nord is a virtual private network that keeps you safe while using the internet. If you're someone that connects to free public Wi-Fi, you're leaving all your personal information open for anyone to see. When you use NordVPN, it creates a layer of protection over your connection, and it keeps you safe from the wrong people trying to steal all your personal information. I feel like at one point or another, we've all connected to public Wi-Fi, never even thinking about all the risks that come along with doing that. Luckily, if you have Nord active on your device, they have you protected. It's not only public Wi-Fi you have to worry about. There's so many sites that you could click on that pose a threat to your online security. Nord has something called CyberSec, which blocks dangerous websites that are known for hosting malware or spyware, and it also blocks those really annoying spammy ads that pop up all on the side of your webpage and make your computer run way slower. Nord also lets you connect up to 6 devices under one account. That means you can secure your phone, iPad, laptop, tablet, all at the same time. Using Nord is super easy too. All you have to do is log in, select the country you want to connect to, press connect, and that's it. It's really that simple. If Nord sounds like something you're interested in, just go to nordvpn.com/tspill and get a huge discount on a 2-year plan plus 1 month completely free. Nord also has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so trying it out is completely risk-free. Thank you, Nord, for sponsoring today's video, and let's get into the tea. So, this year hasn't really been the Ace family's year, and everything is really starting to crumble around them. The image that they've been so desperately trying to portray online is finally starting to slip away, and even their own fans are seeing Austin and Catherine for who they really are. The Ace family downfall has been slowly happening for years, but I feel like the TikTokers versus YouTuber boxing match is what really started this downward spiral. Earlier this year, Catherine and Austin suddenly stopped paying their mortgage payments. After months of non-payment, rumors started going around the internet that they were about to be foreclosed on. Both Austin and Catherine denied.
Okay, Catherine, there's a lot of rumors that your house is getting foreclosed. What do you have to say about that?
It's not true.
It's not true?
No, thank you.
But unfortunately, it ended up being very true. Last month, their double mansion was put on auction for $9 million and was ultimately handed back over to the lender after no one put a bid on it.
With no bids, property reverts back to the beneficiary.
At this point, everyone already knows what's going on. Austin and Catherine made such a big deal over their house when they first moved in. They put so much work and money into it, so fans are just kind of shocked that they're not really addressing the obvious. Well, even though we haven't heard much about the foreclosure from the Ace family themselves, Cody spilled a little bit of tea after finding out some inside information. Cody said he has inside information from a real estate agent that he knows about how much Austin and Catherine got ripped off with that house. Cody is claiming that they essentially got scammed when buying the property. Cody said he watched a YouTube video that said they took out a hard money loan, which is essentially a loan that has a way higher interest rate than a normal mortgage. Apparently, they also told the permit people at the city that they weren't actually going to live in the house. They said they were just going to be using it for filming purposes. Obviously, they haven't been using it just for filming, and it's been their main residence. But that's not even the crazy part. Cody went on to say that the bank sold off the Ace family home extremely cheap, and he actually knows the person who purchased it.
Dude, I know the guy who bought it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was just weird coincidence. I was with him last night, and he was like,
Does he get both?
He was like, yeah, we just bought this like really, I don't know, like problematic like YouTuber, and I was like, which house? And he said we bought a problematic house, and I was like, what house? And he's like, I don't know, some YouTuber, he did some boxing thing, and I was like, awesome, McBroom, and he was like, yeah, crazy. They got taken for a ride when they built it, spent way too much money on it, and now it's in this area that the next most expensive house is $2.5 million, so no one wants to buy this $10 million house.
Right.
So it's not worth anything close to that. So they picked it up like for cheap from the loan company, and I guess they're gonna try and flip it or something. I don't know.
Did they get both or just the one? Because it's two houses. It's 2 houses on the property.
Really?
Uh huh.
Oh, I don't know.
It turns out Cody and his inside source were right. The Ace family admitted to entering foreclosure and having to give up their home. The Ace family hasn't posted to YouTube in nearly 2 weeks, and a lot of people were wondering where they were and if they were going to address anything. They finally came back to YouTube with a video titled Our House Story. Now, before we get into this whole video, I just want to bring up how odd Catherine and Austin were acting. They filmed this on vacation, so I'm pretty sure they were drunk, but I've just never seen this side of them before. They went from being mad to being sarcastic to joking to pretty much calling everyone a hater for talking about their foreclosure. Anyways, starting off the video, Austin says normally they wouldn't address things that are personal and private to them, but they kind of feel like they have to because of the narrative people have created online. He ended up handing things over to Catherine because she was super passionate about this whole house situation, like extremely passionate. I've never seen Catherine like this before. She was ready to literally expose everyone and air out the entire situation. Catherine says there's been a lot of damage done to her and Austin's relationship because of all the fake things that people have been spreading about them. She claims it's always the same 2 media outlets reporting on them and the same nobody tea channels.
These 1 or 2 outlets and these like tea channel nobodies that have been making videos about us and talking about us in a negative light, it's because they make money off of us and they're using you, your clicks, they're using you. So stop being so bitter, stop being so angry, stop attacking us.
They started back at the very beginning when they first found the house that was foreclosed on. Austin said when they were living at their old rental house, they could see these new houses going up from the view in their backyard. One day, Austin went over there and asked the builders what the plan was. And they said they were going to build 3 houses and make it a cul-de-sac. In Austin's mind, he felt like one big house would be way better because it was up on a hill, isolated, and away from everyone. He asked the builders if that would be possible, and after doing a little bit of research, they told him yes. And that's where all their problems start. Catherine claims everyone involved in this entire situation completely f***ed them over. Apparently, the contractor on the job wasn't even a real contractor. The architect took tons of money from them. The realtor they used apparently knew they were getting scammed and was involved in the whole thing. Like, just a complete mess. Now, here's where Austin and Catherine really messed up. They went into escrow without getting a certificate of occupancy. Closing on a house without getting this is a huge no-no. A certificate of occupancy is a document issued by the city that says, yep, this house is up to code, everything is in working order, nothing needs to be changed, and it's safe for people to live here. Trying to finance a house without this document is extremely difficult. Lenders don't want to hand over millions of dollars when they don't have proof that the house is up to code. These lenders giving out huge amounts of money want to protect their investments too, and a certificate is a huge deal to them. It's kind of like buying a car without it being certified. You're handing over a huge chunk of money and you don't even know if the product you're getting works. It's really dangerous and honestly just really stupid. Catherine goes on to say that since they never got the certificate and legally weren't supposed to be living there, they couldn't even get gas hooked up to the house. They didn't have any heat, they didn't have any hot water, they had to bath their babies in cold water, and they couldn't even use their own kitchen appliances. They were cooking all their meals in air fryers and hot plates, like full-on camping in their own house. They said they even tried to hide this from their own fans. They felt like it would look bad and a lot of people would be asking tons of questions. And the problems with the house just got worse and worse. Within a few weeks of living there, that huge nice entrance door that they had started warping and caving in from the heat. Now the builder told them this door was mahogany wood, which is extremely expensive and apparently cost $45,000. But the thing is, mahogany wood wouldn't do that. It's expensive for a reason. Apparently the builder completely scammed them with the door and actually used plywood. You can see pictures of the unfinished door in older vlogs, and honestly, I don't know how they didn't clue in. Catherine alleges that the plywood door only cost the contractor $2,000 and he apparently pocketed the rest of the money. Catherine says it rains in her house every time someone tries to take a shower upstairs because the plumbing wasn't done right. If only the city had something in place that was designed to catch issues like this before you move in. They ended up hiring their own contractor out of pocket while they were living in the house because it was just so unlivable. He took Catherine on a tour of the house and pointed out some mistakes he had to fix.
Here, every time it rained, as you can see, like this puddle situation, every time it rained.
Yeah, you look at it there, it'll bubble up every time because what's happening, water's getting through the AC condensation returns. on the returns coming through here, and what happens, water gets in there and leaks through it and finds its way through here. So have leaks all through here, and we repaired those, we stopped those, but we used to run through these chases. These chases are all AC ducts, so what happens on the roof, the water gets through those ducts, through the units up there somehow, find itself in these ducts, and with it blowing, it'll push the water this way, or it'll chase it inside the duct, and then you'll find leaks where eventually there might be a seam that's open, and then you'll have these leaks. Flex line, there was nothing ever connected here to this gas. All these things were just with a regular flex line. So it had to be hard pipe because the plumber, the inspector wanted to see it. So every unit, AC unit, any of these units are now hard pipe, as you can see it.
Okay.
It's called hard pipe.
So Uncle Ed did this. It was not done when we moved in, so he had to do that.
Exactly here. All these things were leaked. We kind of sealed them over and over. I know it's a maintenance thing, but a lot of this stuff didn't have this drainage here.
Yeah. So every time it rained, guys,
It's puddle water here.
puddle.
Then they brought up the whole issue with their pool. If you guys remember, Austin got called out by his neighbor for riding his jet ski in the pool, which ended up causing a flood in the neighbor's yard and completely destroying their grapes. Everyone was so mad at Austin because it just felt really irresponsible to ride a huge jet ski in a pool when you know you have people living below you. Catherine and Austin are also blaming this incident on the contractors. Catherine said when you spend so much money on a pool, you should be able to do whatever you want with it, even if that involves riding a jet ski. She alleges that the contractors didn't build a retaining wall for the pool, which is why the water started draining below them. Austin said the pool also had cracks on it and was almost ready to explode.
The pool was never plumbed right because there's no way you should have two of these water to be able to clean the pool. So if you could see, the pool could only clean itself halfway.
Yeah.
So we should have had one more of those, but it was never plumbed right.
See how it's dirty down there?
Yeah,
It's never plumbed right. Pool was created terribly.
Quality of some of the tile was falling off due to the way the pool was leaking. You could see, here we had a little bit of a slide.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about this.
So the water took up to the bottom and created problems for us.
Yeah.
It was a never-ending problem for us here with this pool.
That's why I was never in my pool, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, if you really
Tile
don't want to know the
falling
real
off,
reason.
They said their floors are lifting everywhere. There's water jugs that are outside that were supposed to be put underground by the builder, but they never did. And it was just a complete mess. They talked about how everyone was trying to claim that they were foreclosed on because of the lawsuits and not being able to afford their bills, but they were actually trying to save their house and sinking every penny into it. Catherine had it landscaped, she had a new door put on that actually cost $45,000, and Austin had a boxing ring installed outside. Now let's talk about this lender. Like I said before, it's normally difficult to get a loan from a lender or a bank when you don't have a certificate showing everything is up to code. Just because it's difficult though, doesn't mean it's impossible. Banks and lenders are allowed to still hand out loans without seeing it. It's just more of a risk to them. Catherine says their realtor hooked them up with this lender and told them they could get a loan for a certain amount and everything would be good. The loan ended up costing them double what the realtor told them, and the monthly payment was extremely expensive. They ended up agreeing to the loan and signed an 18-month loan period. Normally a mortgage would be spread over like 30 years, but since it was such a huge loan, they said it only lasted 18 months and then they would have to find a new lender. Now here's where the issue comes in. You can't normally get a loan without having a certificate of occupancy. They thought within the 18-month period they'd be able to get clearance from the city, but since there were so many issues with the house that needed to be fixed, and then the pandemic hit and they just couldn't get it. So when they started shopping around for a new lender to give them this huge loan, they couldn't find anyone. They ended up finding someone who would give them the loan, but they still had to pay all this interest on the mortgage to get them caught up. So they go to pay the mortgage on the 18th month living there, and their mortgage payment gets sent back to them. Catherine's calling around trying to figure out why, and it turns out the lender changed their mind and no longer wanted to give them this huge loan. This is where things get a little bit weird because Catherine's like, well, I can't get a lender because I can't get city clearance, but I can't get the clearance because the house is a piece of and I don't want to pay the house off because it's a piece of so I'm just gonna go on with my life and be positive. Like, what? In other words, she means she just ignored the situation and was shocked when the house entered foreclosure. She went on to say that the original lenders wouldn't even give them another loan. They pretty much said, you, we don't want your $70K a month mortgage. We're gonna buy this house in our name, flip it, and make even more money on it. Catherine said they had the house appraised and it was already worth $15 million, so the lenders buying it out at $10 million was a steal for them. Not to mention, Catherine and Austin already sunk tons of their own money into the house before moving out. Now, jumping back to Cody Co's story about him meeting the person who bought the house, it all makes sense now.
He said, we bought a problematic house. And I was like, what house? And he's like, I don't know, some YouTuber, he did some boxing thing. And I was like, awesome, McBroom. And he was like, yeah, crazy. They got taken for a ride when they built it, spent way too much money on it. So they picked it up like for cheap from the loan company. And I guess they're going to try and flip it or something. I don't know.
This whole situation is just a complete mess. And honestly, every homebuyer's nightmare. Now, when I heard this story, I thought for sure they were going to be suing everyone involved. The realtor, the brokerage, the contractor, the builder, everyone. But they actually aren't. They're alleging all these people have no money. They said the builder went bankrupt, so there's no point in sinking even more money to try and get the millions back that they lost. As far as what they're doing now, they've already moved out of the old house, it's no longer their issue, and they actually had a new house built. They said they're going to be more private with this house and not give away too many details so people can't look them up and watch their every move. They said they're still going to be doing a house tour, but they won't be showing the outside of the house. The best part about this new house is that it actually has a certificate of occupancy, which means warm water, gas, and heat. I honestly just can't believe they got into this situation. Like, moving into a house without getting approval, knowing that you can't turn on gas until you get it, is so risky. I just don't understand why you would even be okay with that, especially having kids. I also find it kind of strange that they're not suing anyone. So many people in this situation were connected, from the builders to the contractor to even the realtor. And you're not even gonna bother to try and recoup some of that money and hold these people responsible? Not to mention, looking back, it's kind of crazy to see how the Ace family was portraying their life online. They did house tours, making it seem like they had the perfect life, when in reality, everything was literally falling apart. Anyways guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button because it really does help my channel, and I'll see you next time.